Hello out there to all you beautiful people. I am so excited today. I'm going to be talking about a subject near and dear to my heart, self-initiation. Self-initiation is a process by which an aspirant dedicates themselves to a spiritual curriculum in order to align themselves with the energetic current of a particular tradition. It is done as a solitary practice without the need of a direct mentor or an initiating team. As someone who has engaged in self-initiation practices for about 4 years, I can say that these curricula do accomplish what they set out to achieve, but it requires a lot of effort and commitment from the aspirant. So we're going to get into what self-initiation is really like and whether it's the right path for you. My name is Frater Zigmund. I am a ceremonial magician, art magician, queer hermetic mystic, and a conceptual artist working in the medium of religion. Self-initiation has truly changed my life, but it's not for everyone. So let's start there. What kind of person do you need to be to pursue a path of self-initiation? The biggest quality you should have as a self-initiate is motivation and drive. Can you motivate yourself to apply yourself to something every day? It's something that's not going to generate you income. It's not time you spend with loved ones or playing video games. It takes the kind of person who is a self-starter and can keep themselves focused to get through one of these self-initiation curricula. Progress on this path requires effort and discipline. You have to apply yourself to the ritual work, to any spiritual practices that are described in your curriculum, reading lists, all of that. And you can't rush it, it takes time. And that's why spiritual development is often compared to the unfolding of a lotus. There's many layers and it keeps opening and opening and opening and you keep learning more and more. Do you think you can maintain your focus for months, years, possibly even a decade before you complete your curriculum? You really shouldn't start it unless you intend to finish it. But the odds are if you do start, you will not finish. Keep that in mind. Most people don't complete these curricula when they start them. It takes a certain kind of person to get through them. That said, that doesn't mean you're not going to learn something along the way. But maybe now is not the time. Are you okay working alone? Self-initiation is a solitary practice, and you have to be okay with that. There's no one to lean on or to help you in this practice, and you're going to be spending a lot of time alone doing ritual and studying. It's not the kind of practice you want to wrap up in another person or a group of people, because it's really just about you and your relationship to the divine, and your quest to better yourself and become a worthy vessel for the current that flows through you. There's no one to tell you when you're doing a good job or when you've messed up. You have to rely on your own judgment to get through this. And you have to be truly honest with yourself. No one is handing out gold stars for spiritual practice. And honestly, probably no one will care what you're doing. But that's for the better. This is the major benefit of solitary practice over group practice. You just don't get caught up in other people. I've always heard stories of people joining magical groups just wanting to learn something. And then the whole group implodes or breaks apart because of infighting in the group. All this stuff started way before that person even joined the group. With solitary practice, you never have to worry about that. But it is hard to keep yourself on track because there are so many things in the world trying to vie for your attention. It's all about what you prioritize in your life. There are also things in your practice that you will want to tell somebody, but you really shouldn't. Silence is a big part of ceremonial magic practice, and learning to navigate silence is a big part of becoming a magician. So you're going to end up having these big, amazing experiences, and people are just not going to care because they can't really relate. They're much more concerned about their lives. It's like when someone wants to tell you about their dream, and the dream is really only interesting to them. It's kind of the same thing, but that keeps you from getting your practice wrapped up in someone else. Another question to ask yourself: am I ready to face uncomfortable truths about myself? Am I ready to step outside of my comfort zone? Will digging into your past and facing your traumas be something that you think you can do? This path is all about healing yourself to heal the world, and healing can hurt a lot. Are you prepared to do that work? This kind of healing can mean some major changes in your life, and you might have to let go of some things that are holding you back, but you really don't want to. Are you ready to start letting those things go and build a new life for yourself? It's very easy to say yes, but actually doing so is much more difficult. Self-initiation is hard. Self-improvement is hard. So many people choose not to better themselves. And there are so many things in our society that can take up your time and not demand much of you. It's understandable when life already asks a lot of you just to survive. But once you start down a path of self-improvement and self-initiation, it's hard to go back to being the way you used to be. In time, you can learn to step out of your comfort zone and face new challenges. This is the aspect of self-initiation that really requires the help of a therapist or a counselor of some kind, somebody who can remain objective, because you cannot do it yourself. You have your own blind spots, you have your own assumptions about the way the world works, and a therapist will help you look past all of those things that you believe that aren't necessarily true. And we've all got them. We all have our blind spots. And also this work, like when you're facing your trauma, it can be really destabilizing, really psychologically difficult. And having the support of a mental health professional can help you get through it and process it more effectively, more efficiently, and start being the person you were always meant to be. You really want to make sure you have that mental health support before you take up a curriculum of self-initiation. You're going to need it. So you might be the kind of person who is suited for a self-initiation practice, but there are some other factors to consider. A big one is, how stable is your life right now? If you're struggling to put food on the table, keep the roof over your head, place to live, if you can't seem to hold down a job, you don't know where your next meal is coming from, you need to focus on those things first before you start doing self-initiation stuff. It's really hard to maintain a stable, consistent practice when your life is not really working well. And it's just so easy to throw yourself into magic as a form of escape. And you really need to be working on the mundane issues in your life. All the ritual practice in the world, all the studying in the world is not going to pay your bills. So you really need to figure that stuff out before you can become a magician. But if you really want to become a magician, you will find a way to work those things out. So at least get to a point where you don't have to worry about your basic needs from day to day. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. A lot of us have big issues in our lives that keep us from fully attaining that, but we do our best. The work is not going anywhere. If you really want to become a magician, you will find a way, no matter what it takes. The next question is, do the people around you support your practice? This is the kind of thing that you can't really keep secret from the people you live with. You're going to be chanting. You're going to be spending about an hour every day doing ritual, doing meditation, journaling. Like, it's going to be a significant chunk of your life, and it's going to be very obvious to the people you live with that you're doing something unusual, out of the ordinary. The truth is that most people really don't care. People who you are very close to, you should probably tell them what you're doing to some degree. Maybe you can say, I don't really want to talk about it too much. I'm supposed to keep silent. Like, that's very valid and very legit. But if you have problems talking to the people you live with about this sort of stuff, then maybe you need to work on your living situation, because there is an issue there that is not being resolved, that you can't be your honest, authentic self with this person around. And I understand there's a lot of factors that go into why people end up living together and all that stuff. So it's not easy. I'll give you that. But you either need to repair those relationships, repair where you're living, figure out something else so that you can actually have the support you need at home to practice this stuff. You could try to do it in secret if you really need to, but I wouldn't recommend it. It will be very stressful. It will be very difficult. And it'll probably cause you more problems than it's worth. I really recommend open and honest communication with the people that you're close to. Feel like you have to lie or hide things from these people, then maybe there's something going on there that you really need to look at. You should be able to be who you truly are with certain people, especially with the people you've chosen to be close to in your life. If you're just renting a room in a house and it's a bunch of people you don't know, big deal. All they have to know is that you do some chanting at night, and that's it. Just don't be too loud, obviously. But I'm really lucky. I have two wonderful partners that I live with who support me fully on my ritual practice and my spiritual journey. They don't really understand it. They don't really do any of this stuff, but they see how important it is to me and how much better of a person it has made me. So they support me fully. And I really appreciate and I'm really grateful that they don't get upset that I take time out of my day that I could be spending with them and I use it to better myself. But the benefits have just helped everybody in the family for sure. And it's been an overall positive experience for me. So if you're living in a place where you can't be open about your magical practice, it's not safe for you to be open about your magical practice, then you really need to address that before you take up a rigorous magical practice. So perhaps you are the driven self-starter that you need to be. Perhaps you do have a great living situation. You don't have to worry about anyone interrupting you or getting upset with you practicing. So the next question you really need to ask yourself is, why am I doing this? And let's be clear, your answer is probably going to change as you practice, from when you start to where you end up a year from now, 2 years, 5 years, it's constantly evolving. Be honest with yourself and don't hold back. No one else has to see this. No one else has to know, but you need to know. You need to know what it is that motivates you. And you really need to ask, am I doing this to honestly better myself? Or am I trying to engage in some kind of magical power fantasy? And the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. Magic can help you feel powerful. It can help you find confidence. But none of that really matters if you just keep all that power and confidence to yourself, or use it to live out some kind of wizard LARPing fantasy. If you find your power through magic, it's imperative that you use that power to help others who are struggling to find their own. Confident and powerful people stand out, and all eyes will be on you. So you're going to be a role model, whether you want to be or not. No one is an island. No one succeeds on their own. And you have a responsibility to your community to be the best that you can be, even if that community has nothing to do with magic or spirituality or anything like that. Actions speak louder than words, and it is better to be good than great. So, conclusion. Self-initiation is a deep, involved, and rewarding spiritual practice, but it's not right for everyone at every time. You need to be the right kind of person who is comfortable with solitary practice and who can remain focused and dedicated on a task for an extended period of time, as well as somebody who's willing to move outside of their comfort zone. Even if you are the right kind of person, you might not be at the right place in your life to dedicate yourself to this kind of practice. You also need to be examining your reasons to be engaging in this kind of spiritual practice and what it is that you want to get out of it. Above all, you need to learn to be honest with yourself. So perhaps life is not great right now and you can't start this, but don't worry. The work isn't going anywhere. It's always going to be there. You're not missing out on anything. You're not really catching up to anybody. It's all about you, and you don't really need to compare yourself to anyone else or anything. Just do the best you can. And like I said, the work is not going anywhere. So if now is not the time, maybe 5 years it'll be the time, that's okay. If now is not the time, you will find a way to make the time happen if this is something that you really want. So, focus on those life goals. Focus on making sure you can pay the bills, you can take care of yourself. You don't have any big major worries, that your living situation is comfortable. All these things will help you succeed on your initiation path. And they're the first lessons you probably need to learn if they are not working for you already. I hope this video has been of some help to you in deciding if self-initiation is right for you. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment. And of course, like, share, and subscribe. I try to drop a video every Friday. That is the day of Venus, so keep an eye out for more. If you want to see more of my work, you can check out my website at fraterzigmund.com or on the social medias at Frater Zigmund. I'm not particularly active on social media for the most part, but I am active on the Kabbalah Self-Initiation Discord. I don't run it, but I'm a pretty regular participant there. So you can find me hanging out there, and there's lots of random things that I've written over the years that you can search for. I'll drop a link in the description so you can join. Thank you so much for watching, and may the light shine forth from within you all. Have a good one.